Not who you're expecting, I know.
Hey everyone, welcome.
My name is Moises Rosales from California. Here's another episode of the Weekly Av News.
First time homebuyer myths. So today's episode is definitely not for investors. It is not for the experienced homebuyer. Number one of the questions that we get asked a ton, or maybe sometimes don't even get asked, we just kind of feel compelled to have to explain. When you buy a home, it's typically, your normal conventional FHA loan is going to be a 30-year loan. Well, a lot of people think that you have to be in the home for 30 years and that you are stuck in that home for 30 years and you have to pay off that 30-year mortgage. And the reality of the situation is that depending on your lending restrictions, depending on other things, you can typically sell after a year. We recommend 2 just so that you, just for tax reasons. And what ends up happening is that the new buyer ends up paying off your current loan, and then you get to keep the excess, and that's what we call equity, and that's the money in your pocket. All right, myth number 2, talk to your CPA first of all, okay? But the income that you gain from the rents of your rental property, you don't pay taxes on that per se because of depreciation, real estate depreciation. Again, disclaimer, talk to your tax rep. Okay, myth number 3. So we talked a little bit earlier about the excess, right? The equity that you gain from your home once you sell. You do not have to pay taxes on that money as long as you fit within the guidelines of not having to pay taxes, right? But in most people's cases, if you've lived in the home for 2 of the last 5 years, in most people's cases, again, not all, but in most, you do not have to pay taxes on that money unless you're making over $250,000 and $500,000 if you're a married couple. And again, verify that with your CPA. I don't do taxes. All right. I do my taxes. For legal reasons, I have to say I do my taxes the right way. That last part seems like I don't, so don't put that last right way. All right. Myth number 4. You do not need 20% down to buy a home. You don't need 5% down to buy a home. You don't even necessarily need 3.5% down to buy a home. There are programs that can qualify you for 3%, 3.5%, 5%, and there are others that can work with down payment assistance where you pay a lot less than that. Now, there's no guarantee on some of these figures, but just know that I've been able to get my clients into homes where they just put the minimum down that some of these down payment assistance programs offer, which is typically $1,000. Disclaimer, there are a lot more costs that go along with that, and it depends on the negotiation, but you don't necessarily need, like I said, 3.5%, 5%, 10%, 20% down in order to buy a home. And myth number 5, just because you're working with me as your realtor doesn't mean you cannot work with someone you know who is a lender, or vice versa. So lender, realtor, 2 separate entities. We have a lot of great relationships with a lot of great lenders, and I'm sure lenders that you may know, if you go to them first, can refer you to some great realtors. But we are not one and the same. And each one of them has a commitment to the client, which is you, more so than they do to the relationship. Now, with that said, like I said, I have a lot of great partners, but my commitment is to my client, not to the lender, and I'm sure the lender will tell you the same thing. Their commitment is to you, not to the broker. So at the end of the day, know that you can choose to work with whoever you want. That goes with realtors, lenders, inspectors, the title company that you want to use, etc. So just make sure that you're aware of that. You are not forced to work with any one or other person just for you choosing to work with a realtor. All right, extra myth number 6 or 7, or myth B. You don't pay a dime to your buyer's agent. Disclaimer, 99.9% of the time, and it depends on the agreement with your broker. Okay, back to it. You don't have to pay your buyer's agent on a typical transaction. There might be an obligation, again, in the agreement itself, but at the end of the day, sellers usually pay for the commission, which means that you as a buyer will typically get free representation in negotiations, contract review. So really there's no real good reason for not to get that representation on the buyer side of things. I want to let you guys know we have a lot of properties that should be hitting the market here soon. We will be obviously shooting videos for every single one of them. If you guys are on the market or are thinking about getting in the market, or even if you're not working with us, but you're on, in your home search, have your agent reach out to us. We will gladly tell you what's coming up on the market or what we have available, just so you guys get some more options and some more exposure out there. So let us know, message, call, DM, whatever it is. I'll see you guys next time. We are just gonna go over my new suit. I'm just playing. Anyways, it is a cool suit though. All right, let's do this.